Hello, Adivi Sesh, and welcome to Galatta Plus. Congratulations on the success of Major.
Thank you, sir.
When I did my, I wouldn't call it research, but asking around, I was told I should ask you one of two things. Some people told me that you are Hyderabad's latest heartthrob, and other people told me that you are the next big thing after Gudachari and Major. So you can pick anyone and kind of run with it.
I would say that I'm happy to do this interview with you.
Okay. Let's go with the next big thing. I mean, like, that's what, a lot of people said.
Yeah, by God's grace, it's been 5 films in a row. I think what's different is that for lack of a better term, the enormous box office of Major is kind of what's turned it beyond.
Right.
The critical respect was always there, at least in Telugu. I'm glad you loved Gudachari as well. But I just think this sort of really has opened up new audiences. When you get people from Kolkata or people from Himachal saying, "Aaj hi humne film theater mein dekha hai," or log ro rahe the ya log chilla rahe the, then you're like, okay, we're doing something.
And there was even a little girl who wanted to be in the army because of this.
Yeah, several kids. I think the one you're talking about is this famous clip. It went viral. This Oriya girl speaking Oriya, and she had seen the Hindi version in Bhubaneswar, and she just was crying, saying, "I want to be in the army. I want to save the country like Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan."
Would you say now it's going to become easier to kind of? That's why I'm saying next big thing. Is it like are people lining up and offering movies to you?
By God's grace, the offers were always there from Kshanam. I think Kshanam was sort of my breakout film.
Remade. Not Panja.
Panja was sort of my breakout film as an actor,
right.
And Kshanam was my breakout film as a lead actor, carrying a film.
Right.
Panja, yeah, I got to show my talent a lot in someone else's film, you know. And I think with Kshanam, I think what happened was, the fact that it was made in 5 different languages, and it was a success in every language. I just think it really gave me a lot of respect, and Major is sort of respect and the enormous reach of the filmmakers.
Right. Now, you were brought up in the US. You've been in India for about 10 years now?
I have, yeah.
So what was the biggest culture shock in the relocation for you?
I think the shock was multifold for me. For me, the shock was that what I knew of India was from a very textbook space, from a very ancient Indian culture kind of space. And that was very different from city life, starting from crossing the road, starting from realizing that you're not supposed to book your apartment from the US on magic bricks and coming here to see that the apartment that you booked has no doors or windows yet.
Okay.
So, I just think my understanding of trying to understand what people mean when they say something is very different from what they're actually saying.
Right.
That was sort of my biggest realization.
Right. And when it comes to the film industry?
That times 10. To understand what people are actually saying. Not listening to the words they're saying.
Trying to get at the subtext, so to speak.
Absolutely. Like even your common people, when they say in Telugu, cinema average undi sir. Average potentially means it's okay. It's not too bad, right? That's what average means. But average really means in Telugu the film's tanked.
Oh, wow.
So, things like that. Or
they soften the blow.
Yeah, so much of Indian culture is about that, about softening the blow. Or even softening the high to give it a sense of balance.
Now, you were considered one of the new gen talents, if you will. You also played a role in Bahubali.
I did.
Rajamouli is one of the great old school directors in the best sense of the word. Was there something you were able to take away from seeing him work that you can apply to your sensibility?
Oh yeah, in a big way. I say this in almost a lot of Telugu interviews, but the truth is that he has been a guru to me and he doesn't know it. To spend 100 days on set on Bahubali, albeit a 15-minute role, it was really film school for me. I went to film school in San Francisco State University, but I consider film school to be Bahubali. I saw what it takes to get what you need no matter what. And to have that focus, determination and hard work, that's something I've adopted immediately. Through no small measure am I called a Rakshas on my sets. And it's also really made my quality so much better.
So can you give me an example of something that led to that particular realization,
Yeah, it was this curtain shot in Bahubali. I'm supposed to arrive in front of Rana and say, "Dad, where do you need me to go?" And he says, "Go there." He set the palace on fire. So it was this long 70-foot curtain and it's supposed to be set on fire. They were actually setting it on fire, and we spent all day getting that one shot of me arriving because they wanted to make sure that the curtain fluttered in the exact correct fashion so that it reveals Rana, then reveals me while we're coming and talking. And I just think to painstakingly create that,
right,
I saw real determination there.
If I were to ask you to name 5 iconic Telugu films, 5 that defined you in some way or have impacted you in some way, what would they be and why?
I sometimes have this conversation with my dad, and I feel like I can tell you the ones that feel impactful right now. They might be different tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah.
Shiva, for sure.
Yeah.
Shiva was sort of my understanding of how running and movement and action on camera works as a kid, as a real young kid, was Shiva. Hello Brother. It's a game changer for me. Hello Brother is to me one of the best commercial films of all time. It's extraordinary. And there's not a single scene in it that's bad. Apad Bandhudu.
Okay.
Chiranjeevi Garu's Apad Bandhudu. That was, to understand what craft and conveying emotions through the eyes. I think that was a huge one. Happy Days. I have issues with Happy Days on so many levels, but the soul of it is so beautiful. It's so soul-stirring that it is my guilty pleasure. Like, I will watch it whenever I'm feeling low. I don't know if it's not a Telugu film, but it's by a Telugu filmmaker. That's Rangila. I've seen Rangila 50 times, 50 times.
Wow.
To me, Rangila is a near-perfect film. I think every song, every beat, it's calculated, manipulated, often frothy, but so well done that you just can't help but fall. It's like extremely well done, Rangila.
You said you're known as a Rakshas on sets, but I asked people about you and they said you're actually one of the sweetest people.
Offset.
Offset. Okay, so what is this?
Here's the thing, man. Major's a 35 crore film.
Right.
But I dare anyone to look at it. And there's a lot of sort of industry walas who'll say, this looks like a 50 crore film. This looks like a 100 crore film. This looks like, it's a 35 crore film. But we worked very hard to ensure that it looks like a extremely big canvas film. And we made sure that that's there. So when you're doing that with a 35 crore budget, and this is always going to be an uphill battle for me, because the moment I'm given 100 next for my next one, I'm going to try and make that look like 500. So it's not going to stop. That uphill battle is always there. I think that really ensures that we're really pushing.
Right.
You're maximizing your resources, maximizing your energies, and you are literally getting more ambitious than the resources you have. And that's just been a feature of my life. It started with Kshanam, which was made for 1 crore. And I think that's sort of why you require the Rakshasatvam on sets. Because being on set is like a test match. The first 3 overs, you're really focused. By then you start stretching, you start checking your phone, you start yawning, and people start getting bored. They start talking in the middle of the take. This is a big feature in South Indian sets, you know. Maybe not the Malayalam ones, but the rest of them. So to really ensure that this entire crew of 300 has that focus, determination, concentration. Also because a feature between Kshanam, Gudachari and Major is that I wrote those films.
Right.
So I have a certain ownership where I'm running around like an assistant director, carrying sandbags. I often do that. Not because it's to show humility, it's to show that I am working so hard, what are you doing? It gives me the authority to ask.
Now, you made your splash as an actor in Panja, like you just mentioned, because that kind of put you on the map or the radar, so to speak. But at that point, what was your ambition? Because there is this tendency sometimes to, like, if you do a movie, if you do a role really well, and if the movie does well, then you get 50 such roles. And, you know, was that kind of ever in your mind when you were charting out that career? Because that was a little earlier in your career. So.
Major. I mean, 2011 to 2015, I'd get offered was villain roles, you know. And the thing with Telugu films and villain roles is that by the 3rd film, they're bored of you, so they're looking for the next new North Indian face to cast as the big villain. So, you know, and that guy will be whoever that breakout actor is in that series or that film for the year in the North.
Right.
So they'll make their money here, but they'll go do their talent stuff there. So, and me being a Telugu guy, I'll be taken less seriously. So 4 years I spent trying to navigate that. I only did about 4 villain roles,
right,
sort of to keep the oven burning or whatever you call it. I think with Bahubali, I decided that
enough's enough.
Enough, and you know, you got to write your own destiny a little bit. And I think that's what led to Kshanam.
And that led to Gudachari, and that led to Major.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was Yavaru in between, which was a great commercial success as well. It was the Telugu adaptation of Invisible Guest, which did really well for me. Actually, I get a lot of love from Tamil Nadu for it. The goal was to chart your own course, because I don't come from a film family and also don't socialize too much. I don't drink, so that essentially puts you away from like 8 out of 10 parties, because you're not so fun to talk to if you're not holding a glass.
You can still hold a glass of lemonade.
Yeah, but they get uncomfortable. They're like, "Are ye peene raha hai?" So I think what happens is
You can pretend it's gin or something.
You should have seen the army's, the couple of army people's efforts to get me to drink in the National Security Guard after they saw Major and they loved it. So that was a whole nother. That could be a film on its own. Like one of those Janebi do yaron type of things. So yeah, I don't socialize too much and I keep to myself. I'm a little reserved that way. So what ends up happening is there might be 18 young actors and there's maybe 3 good scripts. So by the time it goes through these 18 young actors and comes to me, that script's been mutilated, manipulated and changed with a hero introduction and 3 fights, which is the antithesis of how I function.
Right.
So I figured I might as well write my own stuff.
Now, you are known as a very good production person, like you just kind of said, on sets. Where did those skills come from?
My first film wasn't Panja, it was Karma, a film. The film didn't work, but it was the reason I got noticed. There was a big super hit song in it that Pawan Kalyan Garu and Vishnuvardhan Garu noticed, and next thing I know, I was cast in Panja. So when you save up a bunch of money in the States, you know the drill, you've lived in the US. You save a bunch of money, you max out your credit card, you borrow about $50,000 from your parents, another $100,000 from your friends, and you lose all of it. You know what it means to a producer. So are
those people still friends?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I did give them their
just
money.
Just wanted to check. So, yeah, okay.
And when the idea, I consider it very sacred that a producer says, "This is my hard-earned money. I want to bet on you."
Right.
And I'm the horse they want to bet on. It's a real point of pride for me, even more than the critical acclaim that I've gotten. That my last 5 films, every producer has called me again and said, "I made a lot of money. Can I work with you again?" That means a lot to me.
When you are a struggler making a 35 crore film like Major, and not that you're a struggler now, but what I'm saying is in the like now that you've made a 35 crore film look like a 50 or 75 crore film, when you're actually getting 75 crores, or rather, aren't you now in a position where you can actually say, I want the exact amount of money that I want my film to look like in terms of budget? Because you did say that if you get 100 crores tomorrow, you'd make it look like 500 crores. So why not ask for 500 crores if people are willing to give it to you?
See, I think what it is I was there during the process of Bahubali as well. And I think Bahubali started off as a 70 crore film. I think I have a very decent track record. And this is a country where we will reward a PV Sindhu Garu after she wins the Olympic medal, rather than give her the money to win the Olympic medal,
right.
To train, to get the facilities to get the Olympic medal. That's who we are as a culture. We reward the one who is shining. We don't enable the person to shine. So for me, it's always about, see, already, my next Gudachari 2, that's going to be massive. And I'm getting a massive budget, 3 times Major. Except what I have in my head is 10 times Major, So it's like, I don't know how to reconcile with that. So I'll have to figure out a better way, I guess.
Everybody's talking about pan-Indian films and everybody defines it a different way, so I'm not going to go there. Would you consider Major a pan-Indian film, considering that it's worked in many parts of the country? Or would you consider it a Telugu film that has captured the hearts of various people?
Well, I mean, I call Major an all-Indian film,
right.
As a cool way to say it, for 2 reasons. Subject matter-wise, Major Sandeep was born in Kerala, grew up in Bangalore,
right.
Fought in Kargil, captain in Hyderabad,
yeah.
Training officer in Haryana, and saved Mumbai. I mean, if that's not all-Indian, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
So subject matter-wise, it demands an all-Indian audience. And even the film itself, we didn't dub it. Every scene, every dialogue, every beat has been designed for Hindi. and then every scene, every dialogue, every beat shot separately in Telugu. We made 2 films. In that sense, Major is a true blue Hindi film made in Hyderabad completely. I hope that answers the question.
Right.
Dubbing into Malayalam was largely an emotional decision. It came from Amma, Major Sandeep's mom, her saying, "So great, beta, that you're doing this, but my relatives in Kozhikode, they might not understand Hindi or Telugu." And so it was like a knee-jerk, like, oh,
yeah.
If the relatives of Sandeep sir, who is my inspiration, who is my hero, and I'm, you know how there's a Chiranjeevi Garu fan, I'm a Major Sandeep fan. So for me, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So I immediately dubbed it into Malayalam from that space.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that sense, Major is an all-Indian film, I guess.
Now, if you're a pure actor, all you're concerned about is the acting. Sure. For example, Sridevi is a great example. She was known as the ultimate switch-on, switch-off actress or actor. Whereas when somebody like you is well versed with the various aspects of production, you can know where the director is going wrong. You can know where this lighting is not going to be the best for the scene. Is it possible for you to ever submit yourself as a pure actor to a film? Or is there always going to be multiple wheels running inside your head saying...
I think it depends on the film. My dear friend Nani is producing Hit 2 with me right now. And I'm just an actor on that set. I am switching off and switching on. I'm saying, what is my line? I'm saying, where is my mark? What do you need me to do? Do I have the opportunity to improvise here? So it's a very, very active space. And it's also a lot less taxing for me.
But you are able to do it?
Oh, not only am I able to do it, it's relief.
Okay.
The idea of my understanding of production came out of necessity, not out of the lack of ability to let go.
So you wanted to be an actor?
Always. That's all I ever wanted. I remember being 5, taking my amma's chunni, tying it around my head, taking off my chest. I'm Rambo, you know. So for me, it was always about acting. Right. It was about acting and acting well. The great parts weren't coming by in the initial days. So I started writing them for myself. And now I'm at a stage where I'm getting offered gigs every day. And, you know, whether it's from Hindi or whether it's from Hyderabad, whatever the next big thing means, I'm just happy to pour through and see what I like.
Finally, how do you switch off from films?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
And it's been a major problem to the point that it affects my health. I've been in the hospital twice in the last 6 months.
Okay.
one for dengue, one for COVID, but both of them I think is because of exhaustion.
Exhaustion due to major?
Due to major.
Okay.
And I really need a break. I need the opportunity to just switch off. And the thing is, I'm not one of those guys who needs to look at my phone. If I'm not working, I can stay a year and not even use a cell phone. Like, that's how easy it is for me. So I'm just looking forward to, I think the big thing is I need to figure out a way to find that balance. My mom will be the greatest, the happiest receiver of that, yeah.
So if you're into films all the time and you're in a tough space like major, you're not able to get out of it. How long does it take for you to let go of major?
I think major is one of those things, it's so personal.
Right.
And it's also a little different from Gudachari or Kshanam, because those films were made with the intentions of making them hits. Major, of course, yes, we wanted to make it a success, but the goal was, I want to spread the legacy of Major Sandeep to every person. I want Telugu kids...
It's a story that inspired you.
Yeah. And I wanted Telugu kids who'd never heard of Sandeep Unnikrishnan sir's name, who don't even know the difference between 24/11 or 26/11, who are 18 years old today, to scream his name. And we ensured that happened. So that was my goal. So I think he will never fully leave me, I think. I've really internalized him. I connect to his parents, we speak every day. Bangalore, I'm thinking about having a second home there because I want to stay close to them. So, and this will continue beyond this film.
Okay.
We announced something called The Major Promise a few days ago in Mumbai and in Delhi. It's essentially, in small towns and villages in India, there are so many CDS and National Defence Academy aspirants who don't have the resources or even the guidance to understand how do you get into the NDA. So I'm starting a fund with my own money after the next few weeks to actually pay for some textbooks, pay for some guidance training, bring in some guidance centers and help find, I guess, a bunch of major Sandeeps across the country in villages across India.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Adivi Sesh.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Hi guys, I'm Adivi Sesh. If you like this interview, please like, subscribe and follow Galatta Plus.